Have you ever wondered what goes on behind the table at a dance competition? Exactly what are the judges looking for anyway? This is Making the Impact, a dance competition podcast. Each week, we'll cover a different topic related to the world of competitive dance from the perspective of the judges behind the table. The life of a dance competition judge may seem glamorous from a distance, but the realities of this business can sometimes be shocking. For our final episode of Season 7 of Making the Impact, we explore real-life judging horror stories and bring up ways to overhaul the industry to make it more sustainable for the judges behind the table.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final episode on Season 7 of Making the Impact. I'm your host, Courtney Ortiz, and I'm here, like always, with my co-host.
It's me, it's Lesley. How are you, Courtney?
I am so good and a little bit sad because the season is coming to an end.
It is, and somehow we've gotten here. We've gotten here through many years of doing this. So Congratulations to us.
Yes, go us. We have been consistent since day one. I have to give us all the props. Even though our lives have changed so much since we started back in 2019, the world has changed so much since we started this podcast in 2019.
Oh, it's wild. And my sister was just telling me about a podcast, an unrelated podcast, not dance related, that she listens to sometimes. And she was like, sometimes I can't even get through it because the quality is so bad. And I was just like, you know what? Nobody could say that about us. Our quality is very good. We have consistent release dates. Mm-hmm. We have consistent formats. Mm-hmm. Like, you guys out there in listener land know what to expect with Making the Impact. So we thank you for your continued support over the past 7 seasons.
Yes. And let's give us our flowers, because even non-dance people have recognized our quality of the podcast. Podcast Magazine ranked us a 4.5 out of 5 for our podcast experience.
And that was like kind of early too.
It was like season 2.
Yeah.
So like amazing. I mean, we've been recognized that early on, and it's just like, I think that pushed us and confirmed that like what we were doing was done well. And so many dance fans love listening to the podcast week after week. I get like parents coming up to me at events saying like, oh, I've learned so much from your podcast. Like, keep it up. I know you've met some fans in person too, Lesley.
Yeah, recently has been so nice. I've been out a little bit more, so people, have seen me and see the good that we do and hear the good that we do. So it's been really nice to get a little bit more FaceTime with these folks. So hopefully that will happen a little bit more as we, move forward.
Yes, and I know this is our last episode of the season, but we do have a season 7 wrap-up episode that you can give a listen to immediately following this one. If you want to hear about what's to come for next year, what's happening this summer in podcast land, and more updates for you. So give a listen post-episode.
Awesome. But we are going to jump into our episode shortly. We have a really good one for you guys today. It's a doozy.
Oh, yeah. It's a big conversation. Might be a 2-parter. We will see, but you will see. You will find out and see. But before we jump in, we have some of our recent Making the Impact Award winners to announce on the pod.
From True Dance Challenges event in Allentown, Pennsylvania, congrats to Dance World Academy from Clifton, New Jersey for their large group, Viola.
From Greater Brockton Dance Teachers Association's event in Easton, Massachusetts, congrats to Starline Academy of the Performing Arts from Stoughton, Massachusetts for their production Rebirth.
From Axis Dance Competition's event in Las Vegas, Nevada, congrats to the Dance Zoo from Bullhead City, Arizona for their small group Playground.
And from Decca Dance Competition's event in Sparta, New Jersey, congrats to Passaic Dance Collective from Passaic, New Jersey for their small group Ordinary.
There will be some more Making the Impact Award winners announced in the following episode, so stay tuned to hear those as well.
And let's hear from our sponsors. A new dance season is here, and that means competition is coming up quick. And we have a great way to help you prep your performance before hitting the stage with IDA's online judges critiques. One of our professional pre-screen judges will provide you with a video critique similar to what you receive at competition. But we also take our critiques one step further with our best-selling feature, post-critique additional feedback. Your IDA judge will go back through your dance and pause the video to elaborate even more on specific corrections and personalized requests. And exciting news for choreographers, Our popular choreography console critiques are back in action this season. Your specialty judge will focus on choreography-specific feedback, covering everything from concept and costumes to transitions, style, and musicality. Enhance your creative vision and elevate your voice as a choreographer with guidance from a pro on technique, song choice, difficulty level, and so much more. Starting at just $35, IDA's online judges' critiques are a great tool to utilize at any point in the dance season. And we are one of the only online critique services in the industry that offers genre-specific judges and rush 24-hour delivery turnaround times. Are you ready to take your dance to the next level? Click the link in our show notes or visit our website at impactdanceadjudicators.com/online critiques to submit your dance today. Dance World, we are here for our final episode in season 7 of Making the Impact. And we're going to get real today. We're going to get real on the podcast today because we as judges love our job so much. But I'm sure so many of you have no idea what's actually going on the job in the life of a judge. And we've done a few episodes of A Day in the Life of a Dance Competition Judge. But we're going to actually get even more real this time around because there are some things that you probably have no idea happen when it comes to travel arrangements, roommate situations, lack of pay, overworked hours. The conditions go on, and the treatment is surprisingly not getting better, unfortunately, in our industry. So there's a lot of judges out there who are passionate about this that want to openly talk about it. And we even polled our community to ask them to share their stories anonymously about some of their horror stories while being a dance competition judge. And it's never about when we get there and are watching the dances, because we do this because we love it and we can't wait to see y'all hit the stage. But it's all the other things in between that get in the way of allowing us to do our job to our fullest potential. And we think that it's finally time to reveal what goes on behind the scenes in dance competition land for our judges. And this is also part of the reason why I started Impact Dance Adjudicators. And many people know that I'm the owner of IDA. We have a roster of judges now that are around 150 judges around the country. We work with 15 plus IDA affiliated competitions. And this wasn't only a way for judges to be able to find more work with competitions and for competitions to easily find pre-screened background check judges, but also to create higher standards for working conditions in the industry. All of the competitions that work with us have to meet our requirements to use our judges with pay rates, with travel expectations, with per diems, with so many perks that so many other comps wouldn't even touch. And maybe that's why a lot of comps are choosing not to work with us, because they don't want to invest in the quality and what it would take to actually get those qualified veteran judges to sit in those seats, because they've been through so many horror stories in their time on the judging circuit. So that is also why IDA exists. And I think a lot of our judges are really grateful to have the advocacy of IDA in their corner as they work through the competition world. But we have a few special guest IDA judges who are joining us today to chat about their thoughts on this in the biz, as well as anonymous statements from judges around the country to share their stories with us. So let's introduce our IDA judges who are joining us today on our final episode of season 7. The first up is a veteran IDA judge who has been there from the jump. We literally created IDA in his apartment, brainstorming and created this in his apartment, which is so fun to talk about. And he's also a veteran podcast guest. So let's remind everybody how many episodes he's been on. Season 6, episode 210, Winning versus Losing 2.0. Season 3, episode 68, Prop Potential. Season 3, episode 107, Live Q&A from Spirit of Dance Award Nationals. Whoa. Season 2, episode 42, Age Appropriateness at Competition. And all the way back to Season 1, episode 8, Boys in Dance. I am so happy to welcome back my dear friend, Mr. Robb Gibbs. Welcome, Robb.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me, Courtney.
Now, Robb, I know you've been judging for so many years. And when Lesley and I were trying to brainstorm who else can we have join us on this episode, I immediately thought of you, not only because you're my dear friend and have been at IDA for so long since the jump in the very beginning, but also because you have had an extensive judging career pre-IDA. So you've judged for so many comps before IDA even existed, and then continue to judge 10 plus years later since the creation of IDA. So you've been doing this for a long time.
I have been around for quite some time. Yes, is really the moral of that entire story. I forgot about all those podcasts as well.
Right. That's why I need to refresh. Yeah.
I don't know that I'll ever forget like the boys one, but like everything else along the way, I'm like, oh yeah, those are really great conversations.
Yeah.
Moral of the story, I've been around for a while. Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Yep. And I've known Robb for a pretty long time too. We met pre-IDA at a very, very long nationals.
Ooh.
One summer.
Yes,
it was a very long time ago. So
and it was circulating judges. So sometimes we were sitting beside one another and sometimes we were not even in the same room, or I was choreographing the opening number and was, a mile away in
it was a fever dream
part of the, it's really what it felt like. And I left early from that nationals to go do my fourth nationals of that summer.
Oh my gosh. I know.
Those were the good old days, man. That was a lot of work.
Go.
Yeah. We did it. We survived. We
did. We were young.
We've got some stories to tell about it.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Well, Robb, if you could quickly refresh everyone who's listening's memory more about you.
Yes, absolutely. My name's Robb Gibbs. Identify as he, him. I live in New York City. I actually have only been back in New York City for 1 year. I left for 3 years. I moved to Massachusetts and taught at a performing arts conservatory. But previously to that, I moved to New York City and lived here for 15 years as a student. Graduated from the American Musical and Dramatic Academy of New York. And then immediately upon graduating, worked around the country in Canada, in regional shows, in dance companies, book musicals, review shows, off-Broadway musicals here in the city. And then now I'm back, and I am currently the operations manager for a company called Broadway Up Close Walking Tours, where we have walking tours of the theater district. We also have master classes based around the Broadway community, where we curate master classes for these groups to come from all over the world, actually. And typically we'll work with an artist that is in a show that they're seeing, and still judging dance competitions. Lesley and I just got home in the middle of the night last night from working at a dance competition in New Jersey. Yeah.
Wow. I love it. And yeah, I know that you have some things that you can share through your time as a judge on this chat. So we're grateful to have you here. And thanks for joining us for the 100th time on Making the Impact.
Thank you for having me back for the 100th time.
All right. Our next special guest is another IDA judge who has been on the roster for many years. And she is actually the one who wanted to talk about this on the pod. So I'm really glad that she reached out to me mid-season and said, hey, Court, this would be a really good podcast episode. And I said, you know what? The time is finally here. The time is now. We're going to make it happen. And you, of course, have to be a guest on it, especially because not only is she a judge, but she is also a licensed therapist. And she has joined us on the podcast previously wearing her mental health hat, but also judging hat on season 6, episode 227, The Perfectionist Mindset in Dance, and season 3, episode 89, Winning or Losing, which was our first winning versus losing episode, and Robb was on the 2.0 episode of that. So everybody go give a listen to those. Those are great episodes. I'm thrilled to welcome back IDA Judge Brittni Johnson. Welcome.
Thank you for having me back again, and thank you for being willing to let us talk about this topic, because it's important.
It is important, and I'm really glad that you brought it to my attention, and I think that's what's so cool about the podcast. We get pitches for ideas all the time. People are like, I really want to talk about this. Have you done this topic? Can we make it happen? And this time I was like, you know what? We can make it happen, and we're going to make it the season 7 finale. Brittni, it's been a minute since you've been on the pod. Last season was the last time, so let's give everybody a little refresher since you've been here.
Yeah, I grew up in the competitive dance world, training at a studio, and then got to be a part of the dance team world too, which I think when you're involved in all of it, you realize how different they kind of all are, even though it's all under the same dance umbrella. So I got to be a part of the dance competition sector, but then also the whole UDA national kind of thing experience in Orlando. So I just remember growing up kind of having the very, very different experiences, like in the dance studio versus in the dance team world. And then I also got to kind of dab into concert dance a little bit too when my director started a company and I got to be a part of the dance company too. So I kind of got all of those experiences younger, which I think just really kind of helped shape me into the educator that I am today. So I just continue to teach in the dance world and continue to choreograph for competitive dance and do master classes and workshops around the world with the dance community. Not the world. I want to get out of the United States. That would be cool. But
put it out there
into existence. So yes.
Yeah, let's go. Well, yeah. But yeah, I'm a licensed mental health professional. I have my own private practice. I specialize in working with trauma, but then specialize in working with competitive athletes. So I have a lot of dancers on my caseload, other competitive athletes in different realms, because it's important, right? Like it doesn't matter if we're going to dance every day and we're hating it, or we hate ourselves, or we hate the way we look, or we hate the outcome. Like we have to love what we do. We do love what we do. So we have to be able to enjoy that and remember our why and be able to connect us back to our why. So I'm really, really passionate about helping people foster the healthiest and happiest relationship with dance. And so I have workshops that I travel around and work with studios and dance teams and universities and programs, just really helping them gain the mental skills that they need to protect that relationship. So I'm just super passionate. I think that's why I'm so passionate about this topic too. We need good judges, and us good judges want to be out here and contributing to the dance community. So I'm excited for us to dig in here and talk about this.
You need to start offering your services to judges because, like therapists, I have a great therapist, but she had no idea about what the dance world was 10, 11, 12 years ago when I started seeing her. And,
she does now.
She does now. She got kids that dance too. So like, she's just in it. But, it's a very unique space to live in your whole life and to work in as an adult and to hold on to, like you said, that like, you have to be able to hold on to that relationship with dance throughout your entire, if you want to be in it your whole life. And it changes and it shifts, and you have to really figure out how to hold your love for the thing at the same time as the issues that surround it. And I think that's part of why this is a hard conversation, because so many of us love what we do and we hate the issues that surround what we do.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do your job and have your morals and your values aligned when you are surrounded by entities that have a different perspective. So absolutely. I think your perspective is going to be super interesting to hear today as well. So we are so happy to have you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And something I want to just mention really fast before we even jump into some of these, hearing from different anonymous submissions about their experiences. We polled a lot of our IDA judges to share their experiences, but all of their anonymous submissions are from time spent outside of IDA. So I just want to mention that anything that is shared here is not an IDA affiliated competition, possibly because we make sure that those treatment expectations have higher standards than many of the other competitions, the 200 plus competitions that exist in just the United States alone. So just wanted to throw that out there for all of our IDA comps that are listening. We're not talking about y'all. We love y'all. And you support us and we support you. But there's a lot of work to be done outside of what we have control in IDA land.
Yep. So I want to start with just a general question for both of you. What do you think people think our days are like as judges? Like, what do you think everybody, like, what's the glossy magazine cover? You're a dance competition judge. What do people think?
It's the most fascinating response that I ever get from people that are even in the musical theater world that didn't grow up as a dance competition kid. And they're like, well, you're gone every weekend. Like, don't you just have so much fun? You get to go and travel and see all of these amazing places and people, these companies, they pay for your food. They must take you out to all of these like glamorous restaurants, and you get to go and see shows in these places. And you're like, what are you talking about? Like, yes, we do get to travel to all these places, but it's not like I'm flying to Hawaii to like go, stare at a waterfall for a weekend. It's so bizarre. And I well, from my experience, that's what people think. They're like, you get to see all of these wonderful places. I'm like, I get to see the inside of either a high school, middle school theater, or
cafetorium.
or the inside of a convention room, the inside of a hotel where you probably don't leave that building to go outside and get fresh air from Thursday night when you fly in or travel in until Sunday or Monday when you leave. Sometimes you just are looking at these walls, pumped oxygen in from God only knows where, and hoping that you survive till the end of it and don't sound like me with these insane allergies. Or you have a voice by the end of it. That's my experience.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I get sad when I am going somewhere super exciting because I'm like, oh, I'm like feet from like a beignet, but I can't have one or whatever. Like, just because I'm going to New Orleans doesn't mean I'm getting to enjoy New Orleans. Like, it's interesting. It's when you ask that question, Lesley, like the first thing that popped up for me is all of the people that I feel like a lot of the first reactions that I get from people is like, oh, I could never do that. Or how do you do that? Like, I do think there's like this recognition of the fact that like we sit at a table from like
they know enough to know that must be hard,
right?
Because you're right, I get that reaction a lot too.
That's the reaction that I get a lot, and like I always have to be like, oh, okay, so like there's some validation that you like recognize that like we are up there doing a tough job. But I think that I don't know, I hear from a lot of people that it's just like this like power, I guess, that we're like given this power as judges. And like, I just need everyone to understand that we are judges that work for whatever competition we are working for. Like there is no judges union that we get to like come back and meet on Monday and be like, well, how did that go? Or like, how did you come up with your scores? Or what rubric? Did you use the rubric? Like there is no universal rubric. Like I judge for one I have to judge completely different for one competition than I do for another based on their rules or based on whatever. So it's like I think sometimes people like give us a little bit more power than we even have, and I think we'll talk about the good and the bad in that in the details. But like I don't know, I think there's a lot of recognition that people know that like this is a very, very demanding job, and like I hear a lot from people like I could never. I mean, and some of the most amazing choreographers and educators that I respect so deeply that I know have said that to me. So
it seems like it would be glamorous. It you know, and could it be glamorous? I think it could. I think there is a world where it could be a glamorous job. We've gotten to the point now it's not glamorous anymore. People who have maybe had glamorous experiences and then go to another competition and it's not so glamorous and they're like, well, I ain't doing this anymore. And all the people that really love this but just can't deal with the conditions that are being offered are saying bye-bye to dance competition judging because it's just not worth it for them to sit in that metal chair for 15 hours and have to beg for a bathroom break, because that's the reality of what is actually happening. And and I think people, like you said, Brittni, people in the audience are starting to realize, dang, that judge hasn't gotten up in 5 hours. Like people are starting to clock certain things and speaking about it. And then they start thinking, well, they better be getting paid a crap ton of money to be sitting there for 5 hours without eating or a bathroom break. And then in reality, that's also not happening. So,
and then on Monday, you're still hearing about, well, the judge said this, or the judge didn't say anything, or the judge, well, because I haven't peed in 5 hours, ma'am. Of course I didn't say anything because I'm just trying not to pee myself.
Yeah. Or like being told that you literally cannot go to the bathroom. I mean, that is a sad reality of our time sitting at the table. And to feel stuck there is such a tough thing. Whereas like you can watch every other staff member, hey, can you take my headset for a second? I need to run to the bathroom. Like everyone else has that flexibility. And we do not. We are literally strapped at that seat, and we are in like everyone else is telling us what we can do and when we can do it for 15 hours straight. So, I mean, I want it to be glamorous though, you know?
Well, and it's interesting. You know, I remember when I first started getting hired as a judge, my reasoning for wanting to judge was that I didn't want to teach. I didn't have the schedule to be able to commit to like a once a week, every day, for the whole year. I was still auditioning. So like this was a way for me to feel like I was still giving back and contributing to the dance world, for the future, not for myself, but for the future. And it was such an honor. Like the first couple times I got hired, I was like, oh my God, I'm being validated. Somebody believes that I can do this. And it really did feel sort of special and important.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I look back at my early judging days and I was more active on Facebook back then, but like there was a picture every weekend. There was a post every weekend. And I was so proud to tell everybody that I had this honor of going to these events. And so when you see those things, and I see them more often now from younger judges, which sort of tracks, that's what people see. They see, I got to travel. Here's my cute outfit. Here's the cute backdrop. And especially with your TikToks and your Instagram videos now, people do their cute little, here I am at the airport. Here's my lunch. Here's my Uber to the right, whatever. And they see this beautiful thing and it looks like something else. And in reality, yeah, there are those things that happen. And like, it might have been a really lovely flight. And maybe you did get a cute, little beverage on your nightly break, before the next day or whatever. Maybe you didn't start on Friday. And so like, it can have these moments of feeling special, feeling important, feeling valued.
Yeah.
And then there's the days like we're going to talk about now where somebody has assigned you a red-eye flight and then you have to get into the hotel at 8:00 in the morning, but you don't start till 3 p.m., but your room's not ready.
Mm-hmm.
So, like there's these situations that could have been avoided and then you could have felt kind of glamorous, but instead you're sitting in the lobby for 7 hours with no sleep and nowhere to get ready. And you're expected to go be on and look put together to be glamorous without any conditions to support the glamour.
Oh,
I completely agree with all that. And I think it can still be glamorous, but only from not only, but one huge thing, there's still moments that like these kids come up to you and these parents come up to you and they make you feel so imperative in their lives and and what we're like changing to do. And I've always said this, and I probably have said this on the last 999 podcast that I recorded for IDA. I will always try to be the dance competition judge that I wanted when I was a kid growing up. It made such a huge difference. Clearly, it's a little different now because, well, for one, those were cassette tapes back then. And you would like...
if they even were.
Right. You would just wait and wait and wait and hope that your teacher would like pull out the cassette tape player in your next solo rehearsal to sit and listen to it.
Yep.
And if it was like a bad judge, that was like we've talked about so many times, good, nice, point your feet, use your plie, all of those things, you'd be like, well, I guess I'll get them the next time. And then there's judges that I strive to be now that are like so passionate and still care so much about the education of these kids and giving them tips and hints and, things of what to do to be able to strengthen their inner thighs and giving them exercises over my critiques to them. It's still like that to me is, why I want to go sit in a chair for 16 hours a day. There's other things clearly that we're going to talk about in this podcast, but like some of those things still are. And like to talk about what you're saying, Lesley, you felt so honored. You felt so privileged. I remember when I got hired for my first dance competition and my mom was like, wow, my son's made it.
Yeah.
He's traveling to Michigan to judge a dance competition. I was like, well, I've also been in an off-Broadway musical here in New York City, starring as like a lead premier dancer. Like there's also those things.
Yeah, you're more proud of that, like, but mom likes
like, wow, my son is in Utah this weekend.
Right.
At a high school auditorium.
And like I look back at my first judging opportunity and mine was I was a replacement and someone thought of me and I just got thrown in. But then after I got that little bit of experience, then I was able to then use that as leverage to get hired by others. And I remember, oh my gosh, I think I got paid $150 a day judging at 22 years old. And I had to fly in on like the cheapest flight in the morning on Friday. But then I also got picked up by the co-owner and I had to go pick up their kids with them, carpool with them to pick up their kids at school.
Oh.
And then I waited around at their house with them while they dropped the kids off. And then we went on our way to the competition. And I didn't even get paid for that day. I went on a family carpool ride all around Ohio or something. And then I finally walked out of that weekend making $300 for 3 days of family adventures. And like, I look back at that and I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot be the only one that's done crazy stuff like that in my early years of judging. And I didn't know any different. I was just grateful for the opportunity. And that's what everyone makes you believe. You need to be grateful. You're lucky that you got hired for this. Now, granted, I was 22 and inexperienced, so I kind of was grateful and lucky. But I also knew that it was kind of not really fair that I was getting taken advantage of and my time wasn't valued and that pay rate was way too low and I should have said no. But sometimes you don't know any different at 22 and you're just like, well, okay, if I get this on my resume, then I can get to better competitions. Like that's your thought in your head. You're like, let me take all these crappy jobs so I can grow my resume so then I can get the good ones. And like, right. Did that work? I don't know. I still look back at that and think like, this is unacceptable that someone even offered that to me. You know, that shouldn't even be the minimum.
That just feels like a favor that you would ask a friend of a friend if you were in dire straits. Like, hey, I'm really desperate. I need you. Can you come do this for me? This is, you know, like that's not something you are like, here is this professional offer to anyone out there who's a professional.
Right.
Like, that's like a very quick little, you know, that's just not the same circumstance that you would offer to somebody in a professional capacity. So that's wild. I didn't know that story.
No, it's crazy. So that being said, let's talk about some of the things that we notice that are kind of common expectations or common offers generalized in the industry now, but are kind of like the bare minimum offers. Obviously, there's things that are better for judges, but rooming conditions, types of flights. Do you get to pick your flight? Do you get to pick your airline? Do you get to pick what time you leave? Do you have to share a room? Do you get to determine how many hours you want to work? Do you even get to determine what event you get put on? Like all of these things. Can we just like lay it out a little bit? Go, Britt.
Yeah.
Dancers, choreographers, and teachers, are you ready to take your routines to the next level? At Impact Dance Adjudicators, our online judges' critiques give you the professional feedback you deserve. And here's why we're the best in the business. All of our judges are pre-screened industry professionals, many with over 10 years of experience in the judges' seat, known for their fabulous critiques at competitions across the country. With IDA's online judges critiques, you can request a genre-specific judge to get accurate feedback tailored to your submitted dance style. And no more waiting around for weeks to receive back your critique. We guarantee to have your feedback returned to you within 5 business days. And if you need an even faster turnaround, we're proud to be the only service in the industry that offers 24-hour rush delivery. Our exclusive post-critique additional feedback goes beyond the standard critique that you get at competition. Your judge will pause the video and break down your corrections, offering actionable advice and exercises to take back into the rehearsal studio. And with critiques starting at just $35, we offer competitive pricing in the online critique market. IDA's online judges' critiques have been serving the dance community since 2017, with hundreds of happy customers who return year after year and 5-star reviews. Visit impactdanceadjudicators.com/online critiques or click the link in our show notes to submit your routine and experience why our online critique service is the best in the business.
I'm like reflecting back on my early years and like it's funny that I think it was 3 years in, maybe 4 years in, where I was like, no, if I need to share a room with someone, like I'm a whole adult, I think. And like again, just kind of like me not knowing that I could like push back on that or like advocate for that, or maybe even being made to feel like if I were to advocate for that, like there goes my job.
Right.
Like because there's someone else that they could just call who would be young or would be ready to just take that opportunity. So like I had this like internal feeling of like, don't challenge that because then you won't be able to work this weekend or they'll just kick you off your other weekends or they won't welcome you back. And, you know, it's like, I consider myself to be a friendly person, outgoing person. I don't know, like I feel like I am, but like, I don't need to be woken up by you, Rob, at 2 a.m. because you're snoring or because your dog had an emergency and someone needed to get a hold of you back home, or like we all deserve our own privacy. Like, and I don't know you. Like, how many times do I fly in for a weekend where you don't know the judges on the panel? Like, why would I want to stay in the room? And I think I take it from more of an even like mental health perspective of like, you don't know what people have been through. And so
Right.
asking people to like share a room with a complete stranger, number one, is just like a complete invasion of privacy. And again, like the lucky 4 to 6 hours that we get of privacy in our hotel room in between our competition days, like I need to be able to decompress how I want. So if that's me taking my shoes and my socks off, or talking to my husband on the phone, or, like calling my kids, or doing yoga in the bedroom, like whatever it is, like I need to be able to decompress however I need to. I'm going to decompress differently than all three of you on this podcast are going to decompress. And like, it just doesn't make any sense. And we know, like educators, studio directors, parents, what you're being charged to compete at these competitions every weekend. Like, to get every staff member their own hotel, I don't even think should be a question. I don't even think it should be something that we're still advocating for.
And they get room blocks and discounts anyway. They have like deals with every hotel, so it's like it's even cheaper than the standard price we see online.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me because I got lucky for whatever reason. My first few years, I worked half and half for people who had already back then, in the early 2010s ish, they were already giving a single room. Now they weren't paying so well, but you had a single room. And then there were some comps that you had to double up in. So like I felt good about the single rooms and like meh about the double occupancy at that point. Cause you couldn't tell what was the standard. And same, Brittni, I didn't have that. I didn't feel confident to advocate for that choice, but like I had situations where I was, rooming with somebody who snored, and I currently now snore. So I'm like, I cannot do that to somebody who I don't even know. It's bad enough my husband has to sleep with that. Like, I feel bad about it, but like, I don't want to do that to somebody else. And I also am just, when I'm in a room with somebody else, even if it's somebody that I know, like Courtney and I, lived together for 6 months on a cruise ship. So like, we know how to sleep in a room with somebody else.
Yeah.
You're just so aware of that other human being.
Yep.
And for me, like once I'm done with a night, I probably, even when I'm by myself, even when I have the ideal circumstances, I still don't fall asleep for about an hour and a half, 2 hours after I lay down, because all I'm hearing is, if I was you, I want to be point your feet and a shuffle ball change out. That's just going in my head. So like, I can't, I'm critiquing the sounds of the air conditioner vent. Like I can't get to sleep. So then there's another person in the room having their own, personal circumstance. Like forget about it. And
or they
then
want to chit chat all night and you're trying to go to sleep.
Right. Or they want it to be really hot, or I want it to be really cold. And, those circumstances, it's really interesting. And like you said, we all know what these fees are. And I'm like, that hotel is not $300 a night.
Right.
Nobody's putting us in a massively expensive hotel.
We're at the crappiest hotel most of the time anyway. So it's like, you couldn't even get me a Hampton Inn practically. You're putting me in like a 2-star hotel, which now at IDA we have 3-star higher. That is in our contract for anybody listening. 3-star higher. And there have been times where we have to step in and say, I'm sorry, this doesn't meet our standards. This isn't the type of hotel chain that you like. If I look online and it says that it's $85 a night, I'm sorry, but we need to be at an $110, $125, $150 hotel a night. Like, that sounds bougie, but I don't think it is, because I don't want to get bed bugs. And judges have gotten bed bugs plenty of times based on the conditions. We heard
multiple bed bug stories in receiving stories about this podcast. So yes, the bed bugs are real.
There's been multiple times where the competition that I've been working has been in a convention center with a hotel, and we have had to stay at a different hotel.
Really?
Because the
hotel was too expensive.
Center hotel, that we are in was too expensive. So we as judges were staying at a hotel that was 10 minutes away, and we had to drive. I'm like, why couldn't I just stay upstairs? Like, that makes no sense, right?
My partner did the same thing as that, maybe like 3 years ago, and they stayed at a different hotel down the block and found out afterwards it wasn't because it was too expensive. It was because the competition would get a bounce back from the hotel. So they made sure that all of their customers got rooms at the hotel instead. So either it was like more of a discount for their rooms, or they literally got like a cashback or something. And so the judges had to stay. It was only a walk, but it was like down the street. I was going to say, I think it was my first competition ever. I had to room with someone else, and we knew each other and had worked together on a contract years prior, and we did not get along on
Ooh.
that contract. And it was just by chance that we ended up at the same, or like working for the same competition. And it was miserable. It was miserable because it was two personalities that should never probably ever be at the same party together, let alone have to share a hotel room in the middle of Kansas. And we did. And it was like, so someone has to shower first
Right.
in the morning.
Got to coordinate
so
that.
You're fighting about that. And then, yes, I think Lesley said the temperature in the room, it's always going to be terrible. It's, like I myself can't ever even find a comfortable temperature in a hotel room. This past weekend, I got up in the middle of the night to turn the air conditioner up because I was cold or like whatever. Another horror story, if I could throw in, it was I think the second season I was judging. Well, it didn't happen to me, but we weren't sharing rooms at that time with this competition, but the year prior they had. And one of the judges, as we were driving to the venue, said that the year before they had to share a room with another judge. And this judge had no personal boundaries and thought it was appropriate to trim their toenail on like in the living area, but with their foot on that person's bed.
What?
Oh, God.
So that, usually hotel rooms, if it's two queens, they're not that far apart. So they were like foot over the thing and like trim. And
going to work with that person the next day.
Right. And being completely revolted by them in general.
Yeah. And now you're supposed to your brain isn't able to focus on your job because you're so angry that some roommate, random person was clipping their toenails next to you and you're disgusted by it. There shouldn't be anything to get in the way of us being able to do our job, mentally speaking. And I know, Brittni, you could even probably speak on that because I know I've walked into many, many weekends frustrated before I even got there because of my travel, the flight they booked me on. I had to sit in the middle seat. I was fending for myself. If there were any issues with the airline, I just had to figure it out. Good luck, get there. They're not covering my Uber to the airport. They're not covering my meals in the airport. I'm running from one side of the airport to the other to barely make my connection because they had to book me on this early flight because it was cheaper than the flight that would have made sense. And I didn't even get asked what flight I wanted to be booked on. So there's all of those travel logistical nightmares that we deal with before we even get there that then put me in a mood. And then I got to try to shake the mood off when I sit down in the chair. And it's hard to do that sometimes.
Someone said earlier, I don't remember who it was, said that whether you got to pick where you went or not.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Sure, you can tell someone that is where you want to go. But a lot of competitions or, a lot of bigger competitions will have 3 cities. And you're like, well, I'd really love to go here because it's closer in proximity. And almost always by that chance, you then get the one that's, in Seattle on the opposite side of the country. And I was going to say I guess I'm full of horror stories. I didn't even realize. A while ago, I was flying to a nationals, which then you're set up for, a week of working rather than just a weekend. And I had an accident the day before where I was having these terrible muscle spasms in my back, but I was medicated or whatever. We get to the airport to fly to this nationals and our flight was delayed more than 7 hours. The company would not pay to Uber us back home because, they were like, well, what if the flight gets moved up? And then we flew to the nationals. We get to the hotel. We had 45 minutes to sleep before we then had to shower to go back down. We asked if there were any swing judges that could swing in for us so that we could maybe start at noon rather than at 7:45 in the morning. And they said no.
Yep.
We got there with our luggage. We were going up the elevator as the director was coming down to start their day.
For their day.
Wow.
That was one of the hardest experiences ever. And I was like, well, I know where I stand.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting to me is we will continue to talk through, I know we're calling them horror stories, but circumstances is what they are. As we continue to talk through these circumstances, I don't think you're going to hear us talk about or complain about, if you will, anything that is just, I don't know, over the top. We're asking for basic human needs,
yes,
right? we're not asking, I don't have these unrealistic expectations. And it kind of brings me back to Lesley, when you were asking about what people think. Like, I do think sometimes people think that we are asking for like above and beyond treatment. And I don't think that we are. We're asking to be able to sleep. We're asking to be able to eat meals. We're asking to be able to work reasonable hours that don't exhaust us. We're asking to be able to have privacy, to be able to wind down. Like, we're asking for things that fuel the human body, which allow us to show up and do a good job. And ultimately, like, this is, I guess, my pitch to like studio owners and dance parents. Like, you are paying for a service. Like, you are paying these competitions, and you are paying for a service. And I genuinely don't, I'm not going to say always, but the majority of the time, I have not been on a judging panel with people who are not inherently at their core excited to do the job that they're there to do. I think judges, for the most part, have beautiful intentions. We want to show up, and we want to inspire, and we want to champion kids, and we want to help them feel good about what they're doing. And I know that's why I'm there. I haven't met a single judge in my almost 10 years of judging now that, like, yeah, I judge for a living. Like, I haven't met a single person that's been able to make a full-time living off of just being a competitive dance judge. If anybody, if you're out there, let me know, because I've never met anybody, right? Like, all of us have to come home from these weekends and go to work, right? Like, we all have jobs outside of here. 1 job, 2 job, 4 job, 7 jobs. Like, we all have jobs outside of this job. We do it because we genuinely love it. We're just asking to be able to be treated the way we need to be treated, to show up to do the best job that we can do. Because the real part of the conversation is that if I am running on 4 hours of sleep the night before, I am showing up with a 4 hour of sleep ability to work. And I would love to sit here and tell you that every single weekend I show up and I'm like, nope, it doesn't matter. And I show up to the table with my Red Bull and I'm good to go. I would love to tell you that that's a reality, but I know that there's been times that my critiques are not as strong at this point throughout the day, or not as strong because I didn't sleep as well the night before. That is a reality. And I think a judge would be lying to you if they said that it wasn't.
Right.
I mean, because we're all humans at the end of the day. And I don't know, like, I meet people who just genuinely want to do a good job. We want to be here for these kids. We want to inspire them. We want to help them. We want to give them with good, solid, quality critiques. And when I hop on Dance Teacher Network on Monday morning and there's 14 people complaining about their critiques from the weekend, the first thing that I want to comment is like, so did you ask the director how your judges were taken care of this weekend? Did you ask the competition how the money was distributed amongst their workers for this weekend? Like, we're not asking the right questions. What we're doing is just pointing out the problems, but we're not addressing what the actual problem is. Because I promise you that I would judge differently if I got a solid 8 hours of sleep versus 2.5 in an airport chair with my head like this because I'm waiting through my delay or whatever that is.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Those are solid points. Ask the questions.
I don't think anyone's ever asked those questions.
No.
Let's be real.
Hell,
no.
Excuse me. No.
I know. I've been wanting to cuss on this episode too. I'm getting heated.
It's like about to come out. But, I think you make a really good point that, like, I think I too have not met anybody who doesn't genuinely want to be helpful and show up and do this job. Like, yes, it's a paycheck. And you know, depending on who you are in your circumstances, it's either a bomb paycheck or it's like, okay, this is what I can do. It's a paycheck. But it's also, I could go get a paycheck in a lot of places. I could go work as a greeter at Walmart and do less work with my brain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like this takes a lot of brain power and a lot of mental capacity. And sometimes you don't have that available to you if you didn't get 8 hours of sleep or a decent lunch break or, a relaxing moment. Just a moment. I don't need a whole day. I just need a moment.
Yeah. Well, and a reality of that, Lesley, is a lot of people on these judging panels are dance educators themselves. And a majority of the time, I could stay home a weekend and make more doing private lessons Friday, Saturday, and Sunday than I could making at the judging panel.
Yes,
so
you could.
That is the reality, and I'm here to say it. Like, it is. I mean, again, we don't do these because we're getting paid millions and millions, like thousands even. Like, that's not what's happening. Like, we're doing it because we're passionate about it. So I don't know. Yeah, it's all it's all connected. Like you deserve to get from the competition what you're investing in, and you are investing for good quality critiques. But in order for that to happen, there has to be a push from the top down on how to make that happen. That's not just a responsibility of the 3 people sitting on that panel.
Right.
Because we get the blame all the time. Everything falls on us. Every score, every bad critique, every placement, everything is the judge's fault in the eyes of everyone else at a competition. And I honestly think that sometimes these competition directors are going to point fingers at us, because they don't want to handle it either. They don't want to deal with it. They're just trying to make their customers happy. We're just a 1099 that is completely replaceable to them. They don't care. If you got complaints, then I'm going to point my finger at you and I'm going to say bye-bye to that judge and find somebody else that's going to come and sit in that seat. And it's become, to me, I've noticed more of seat fillers than actually caring about quality judges behind the table. And I think the industry and the customers are slowly seeing that. But again, it goes back to, like you said, Brittni, starting from the top and treatment. Truly, I'm letting you know the treatment is what is taking judges, the quality judges, out of those seats. And if anyone speaks up, like we said, then we're going to be reprimanded. We're going to be potentially fired for speaking up, for advocating for ourselves, for asking for better conditions. And some people are like, this ain't worth my time and energy. Like, are you kidding me? I'm just going to sit at home and I'm going to do privates, like you said. So for there to be change, we need to have these types of conversations, and we have to know our worth, knowing that, again, we're not asking for first class tickets, 5-star hotels, and steak dinners. That is not what any judge is asking for. But and let's be real, I bet you there are some that do. And
I know exactly who's asking for
and
those
I know
things,
there's probably some that get it. It just depends on who it is sitting behind the table. But either way, we're just asking for a bare minimum. And there are some really wild stories out there.
I'm ready with some treatment stories. I'd love to share. We had a bunch of judges submit anonymously, and we have a few gems that we want to share right now about treatment on the event. Shall I, Courtney?
Yeah, go for whichever one you want.
Okay.
We can talk about them too.
Yep. So a competition decided partway through the morning that they wanted to push lunch back because there were a lot of last-minute auditions. And because of that, the day would be a 17-hour day. I don't know that I've ever had a 17-hour day, but that sounds horrible.
I've seen it. I've totaled them.
This judge was not provided with lunch until 2:30 p.m., making their first meal break 8 hours since breakfast. When I tried to discuss options earlier in the day, I was made to look like the bad guy. Most corporate jobs only last 8 hours, and a meal break at a decent hour is guaranteed. Our dinner didn't happen until after 8. Those kinds of days make judging miserable. Woof.
That Brittni said earlier, like, we're not part of a union, but like, those are labor laws. That is an issue of, like, in New York State, I have a multitude of employees at my job that I send on a break, a 15-minute break within within a time span. And if they go over 6 hours, then you're required to take an unpaid 30-minute break. If it goes over 7.5, you have to take an hour break. Like, those are actual labor laws.
Yeah.
If someone were to ever bring that up to an auditor, this company would be fined. This company could lose the right to be able to have 1099 contracts. Like, these are not logistics that should ever be overlooked.
Right.
And also, as everyone said on this podcast already, why do you expect to have quality anything if you have literally sat for 8 hours without anybody providing you a meal? Heaven hopes that they at least got a bathroom break somewhere in there. But I don't know this person. But like,
hard to say.
that is wild. That is ludicrous. That is actually unfair.
And what they said about being made to look like the bad guy. I have had this experience multiple times where you ask a question that sounds reasonable, that is reasonable. Hey, where's the staff room? Oh, there's no staff room. Oh, okay. Where would you like us to go? We have 30 minutes. We were here at call time and we have 30 minutes until we start. Where would you like us to go? Well, you can just sit at the table. Well, okay. So you want us, the judges, the people who are going to be scrutinized the entire weekend, to just sit at the table with the music blaring, with the lights going for my 30 minutes before we work. There's nowhere for me to be.
All eyes on you.
And they look at you like you were a crazy person for asking for a dedicated space to then not be accosted by people who think you are the director or think you are a staff member. I mean, we've all had that experience where some parent, some director, hey, can you help me? And it's like, of course I'm going to try to help you, but I don't have the answers you need. I'm a 1099 employee who shows up today to do my job and go home. Like, I can't help you.
Or the staff room is shared with studios. I mean, I've worked with competitions before many years ago. And I also heard a story once of like the competition was like providing, or, you know, it was like ordering food or coffee or something for the judges. But because it was a shared space with other studio directors, studio owners, maybe even like a studio specifically, all of their food and coffee got taken. And so these judges were just like hanging out with nothing to eat, even though they had done all of their stuff and had put in their order or whatever. And that's what to get.
Can we also just talk about the majority of the time you don't get to choose your food?
Yes.
You are. So I worked an 8-hour shift, and then I walked into the staff room and it was subs, and the subs it's a turkey sub with lettuce and tomato and mayonnaise. And I'm sorry, but I don't like mayonnaise. So I know I can pick lettuce off a sandwich. It's really hard. I don't know if you've ever tried. It's really hard to scrub mayonnaise off of a sub and then try to enjoy it without mayonnaise. Like,
but you shouldn't have to do that.
And I shouldn't have to, right? But then I will tell you, as a younger judge, I felt so silly because they always asked on the sheet. Well, not always. They're starting to get better at that, but they used to not ask if you had allergy restrictions or food, food dietary or anything. They didn't care.
Nope.
That I think I've seen that kind of
get better.
That standard change a little bit,
be
but
better.
Like I'm someone who's like, well, I'm not allergic to mayonnaise, so I can't put that it's an allergy. But like, there's no box for me to be like, hey, sorry, I'm just like a picky eater and I eat like a kid sometimes and I don't like mayonnaise and I just would love like just a plain ham sandwich with nothing on it. Like there is no box for me to fill that out, and they're not gonna call whatever sub company and be like, make sure you make one sub with nothing on it. Like they just order the catering special, whatever, and bring it in. So imagine being that judge who sat at the table for 8 hours, didn't get to eat, and then went back in the room. You guys, there was one time, I'm not going to mention the company because I don't really know rights or whatever, but there's a company out here that offers baked potatoes on their menu, and it's a large baked potato. Like it's not just a little baked potato, it's a spud, if you will. And that was my dinner once for a competition, was a spud, and it was a baked potato. And I was like, this ain't it. This ain't gonna work.
We have another judge who said the same thing.
So let's talk about the baked potato.
Me, but, you know, like,
what a specific situation.
Yes.
It really is. And that's what I'm saying. So it's like, we don't even get to choose our meals. And I think, Courtney, you said something about it earlier about just like what the freedom of choice does for people, right? Like, even sitting at a table knowing that you're trapped. And I say this in my workshop with students all the time, like, hey, like, guys, how do you think I did as a judge today if I was like having real life tummy issues?
Right.
Like, we all know what it's like to have tummy issues. Like, you want to be as close to a potty as you can all day long, just in case something's happening. Well, that does happen in the judging world sometimes. And so you're going to take as many Tums as you can and cross your fingers and hope that it works.
Right.
Because you can't get up and go to the bathroom every hour.
But then somebody serves you chili that you didn't
and then
want.
You get chili
Your
for
dinner is chili, and you're like, what am I supposed to do here?
Right.
Or
pizza.
Or pizza.
Or greasy pizza.
We have worked for, or I've worked for a company years ago, and like the last meal every weekend was always just 2 large cheese pizzas.
Yeah.
No questions.
Just the plainest.
No questions asked.
No salad.
Like, if any, no, just like, okay.
And it was cold. I'm sure it was cold.
Cold and take a slice.
Been there for 2 hours before we ever even got the break because
and maybe it was even
their staff.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe it was available. It probably wasn't though. Maybe there was half of the pizza left by the time you got to it because the truck driver had to eat, the backstage manager had to eat, the MC had to eat, like all these other people have to eat, and nobody orders enough food for everyone to eat. Like that's been a reality as well.
Pizza's easy. I get it. Pizza's cheap. I get it. But again, like everybody is different. Everybody's stomach is different. Everyone is going to be in a mood to eat certain things each day. So we should be able to select what I want to eat. Even if it is going to be catered, there needs to be multiple options of catering provided for each meal. That way you can pick and choose what you want. I don't want to always eat pasta. Maybe I want to eat salad. Like,
Courtney, I wouldn't invite the four of you over on Super Bowl Sunday without making sure that there was something at my house that you guys enjoyed.
Yes.
I would be reaching out to all three of you separately, being like, do you like buffalo chicken dip and nachos and wings and meatballs? Like, that's what I'm offering. Oh, you don't like any of those things? I'll make sure I have a Cobb salad or whatever you need. Like, I wouldn't invite you over to my home for a party without making sure that there was something that you could enjoy. Like, this is our job. We're working. And, you know, it's, again, none of us are sitting here saying, I'm expecting a ribeye.
No.
We're expecting something that we know that we will like so we can fuel our bodies and continue to do our job.
Now, and to have, you know, the ability to know what it is ahead of time. Like, yes, I am currently trying to lose some weight. I would like to know, you know, what can I eat at noon that's going to fuel me until dinner? Do I need to switch those things? Maybe it's a salad earlier. Maybe it's a bigger dinner later. I need all this information to make good choices for myself.
Right.
And there's so many times where that choice is just not available to you.
Yep.
And you're having to kind of struggle in the moment to do what you need to do. And I mean, I just think my biggest thing with the food is these days. Now, listen, 15 years ago, we did not have DoorDash.
True.
Things were much different. A lot of these competitions are not in the greater New York City area, the Chicago, like they're in
small
the outskirts of the town.
Yeah.
So like your Sunday lunch might be a little crap because there's not a restaurant open early enough to place the order to get it to you when your lunch break is. Like, I've been a director. Logistics are a little bit of a nightmare, even with DoorDash sometimes, depending on where you are. However, you can schedule these DoorDash orders prior to the event. You can send out this list on Wednesday to everyone. Like, I did it. It worked better when you did things earlier. It's just planning.
Yep.
And like, if you don't have the staff to do that, to pre-plan these things, maybe you should invest in the staff to do that, because doing it the day of is not the move. Thinking, oh, we're just going to get the pizza from this place. Oh no, that place is closed. Like, some of these things are completely avoidable. And I just think that nobody is thinking of them. And I have to wonder, like, why?
Because
why are you
they're
not thinking
inexperienced and they shouldn't be owning a competition. That is my take on it. Because every other day we hear of a new competition opening and like they're going to change the game. And I'm like, you don't, like, you are essentially like an event manager. You know, it doesn't matter how good of a dancer you are. It doesn't matter how good of a studio owner you are. You are now running a high scale, large event. You are an event producer. You have to know how those logistics work on a different way, not just making a recital happen. There's so many more people involved.
It's a responsibility of having employees.
Yeah.
It's a responsibility of having employees. I own my own business. There's a reason why I don't hire employees. I don't want to have to manage them. I don't want to have to babysit them. I don't want to have to take money out of my business, because my business isn't at the point right now where I can support employees the way that I would want to. I know I have that awareness, right? And that's exactly what you're saying, Courtney, right? Like, it is one thing to run a competition and make sure we make sure we have frisbees to throw out, because that's important. Like, it's also important to feed your staff, right? It's also important to make sure, you know, your staff have whatever they need. And I don't want to get stuck on the food. I want to go back to something about that horror story that you mentioned, Lesley. Like, let's not forget that a lot of these competitions, we're paid just a daily rate. We are not paid all the time by our hourly rate. So that judge may have gotten a notice that morning, hey, we're going to extend this competition by 2.5 hours. My pay doesn't change because they extended it 2.5 hours. I was supposed to be off at 8:00 tonight. Now I'm not off till 10. I'm getting paid the same no matter what. How does that make sense?
Right.
Like, and that happens a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why IDA has daily minimums. And we also have restrictions in our contracts that state if you have been booked on an event that was labeled as a 3-day, and next thing you know, a whole studio pulls out and now it's all of a sudden a 1-day. The competition has to inform us and the judges within a certain amount of time before the start of the event, or there is a penalty fee and cancellation fee that goes to the judges who have been holding that entire weekend and having the expectation that they're going to make 3-day pay, and now all of a sudden are making 1-day pay. So there is protections there to help the judges, pending when they tell them. If they give enough notice, okay, we get it, we'll figure it out. But we have to also think about the lives of the people behind the table that have lives outside of just this competition weekend. There are plenty that need to schedule daycare. They need to take off of work on Friday and take a vacation day. They thought they were coming home on Monday. They also had to schedule daycare or whatever it is. cancel work that day. Like, no one's putting that into consideration. They just think that we are completely willing to just sacrifice all of our time and cater strictly to them because I gave you the weekend. But there's no consideration of, well, I'm losing pay now. And I could have worked on Friday, but I already took off a vacation day to make this happen for you. And now you're still not even paying me for Friday? Like, what?
Or it was 2011 and you were just out of a musical theater conservatory and you were relying on this 3-day weekend paycheck to pay your rent.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
And then you're like, well, I guess I'm getting evicted this week because
it matters.
You know,
because I've committed and now I'm kind of stuck and I don't want to burn that bridge.
Yeah.
So, but I have to accept this now sad 1-day pay and somehow in this next 5 days make up that $300, $400, $500, whatever it might have been, somehow.
And
with my gigs.
I probably turned down other gigs or other opportunities to accept
Right.
that weekend with that competition because there's competitions that I knew my competition dates. Where are we in May? In November.
Right.
Right.
So I had to commit to you in November for a May weekend date. And then you change that.
Or cancel
I've already put that into my budget. I've already figured that out. And I've already told 4 other opportunities no. Or there was 6 people who wanted to do private lessons with me this Saturday that I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm not available. And in reality, if I would have stayed home and done those private lessons, oh, cool, I could have paid my rent.
Right. And that would have been more consistent and there wouldn't have been the risk of cancellation or risk of being pulled off of it. Or the fact that, let's say if an event does decrease, they ain't changing that flight because it's going to cost them money to change that flight. Right. So they still think that you're supposed to get on that flight at 9 a.m. on Friday like you were originally scheduled when you don't even work until 8 a.m. on Saturday. And you're still supposed to wait around until Sunday night to fly home, even though you've been done work since Saturday. Like, those little things that we have to ask for, that should be a no-brainer. It should be I'm so sorry that this shifted. We're going to compensate you this for the miscommunication and for the inconvenience for you. Thank you for saving this time in your schedule. We're also going to adjust your flight and we're going to give you a little bonus pay for this. Like, none of that is ever happening. We're just supposed to just say, oh, okay, I guess this is the cards I was dealt. And there's no protections for us as judges. And if we advocate, then we are the problem. We are
right.
Well,
and so many people say something like, well, that's just the cost of doing this job. That's just what comes with the territory of doing this job. And it doesn't have to.
Right.
Maybe it is. But there are other choices the people in charge could make. And, what it comes down to is, unfortunately, the way it seems now, y'all out there who are the people in charge, you could come back at me and correct me if I'm wrong. But to me, it seems like the bottom line is all that matters. I need to save the dollar wherever I can. And for some reason, it's the people where they want to save the dollar. Right. They want to save the dollar on the people, not the backdrop, not the LED lights, not the frisbees,
not the venue,
not the TVs that show everything. Like they're not pinching pennies. They're going to pinch pennies on the human beings, which is backwards to me. And so that's, I'm always baffled when these situations happen and I'm like, what other choice could you have made? And there's like a list of other choices they could have made.
Totally.
It wasn't like you were really stuck in between a rock and a hard place. It's not. It's a hard place, but it's a hard place that you as an owner also have to navigate. Mm-hmm. Like, why are you putting the onus on your employees, your people who pop in and out? You're the one who does this for a living full-time, 365. Mm-hmm. You're the one that has to accept the hard place. We should not be the people accepting the hard place.
Yeah. That's a wrap on part 1 of our final episode in season 7, all about judging horror stories. But don't worry, there is so much more to this convo that you do not want to miss. Part 2 of this episode will be releasing end of June or early July as a summer bonus episode. Mark your calendars and tune in then to hear the rest of this important conversation. In the meantime, don't forget to follow our fabulous IDA judges and special guests. You can follow Robb on Instagram at robb.gibbs and Brittni at being_Brittni. Also, check out Brittni's mental health therapy practice, Empowered Movement, specializing in treating dancers, competitive athletes, and individuals healing from trauma. To learn more about their virtual counseling or in-person workshops, visit their website at empoweredmvt.com.
Don't forget to follow Making the Impact on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, and pretty much everywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you want more exclusive episodes, support our podcast by joining our Platinum Premium membership for only $5 a month. Subscribers receive free Making the Impact stickers, shoutouts live on the air, ad-free listening, and exclusive access to our Q&A episodes for members only. Join now at impactdanceadjudicators.com/platinum premium or click the link in our show notes. Tune in to our Season 7 wrap-up episode right after this.
Thank you to all of the fans who continue to support Making the Impact through 7 seasons. We're so sad this one's coming to a close, but don't worry, Season 8 is right around the corner. Mark your calendars for Thursday, September 3rd, 2026 for the launch of Season 8 of Making the Impact. Until then, we hope you have a wonderful dance-filled summer.